Welcome back, survivors. Now that you got your DayZ server up and running, the next step is usually adding your first mod. But this is also where a lot of server admins accidentally break their economy, mix files incorrectly, or create long-term maintenance problems. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install your first mod the right way, how to evaluate a mod before installing it, how to install it properly through the game panel, and how to integrate it cleanly into your server economy using best practices. By the end of this video, you'll have a working mod and a clean file structure you won't regret later. Before installing anything, let's head over to the DayZ Steam Workshop. Here we can search for any mod we want, in this case, Windstride Clothing Pack. Now let's take a minute to check over a few important things before moving forward. Like, when was the mod last updated? Are there any unresolved complaints in the comments? How many users are currently subscribed? Does the author provide types files or class names? And most importantly, is there a Discord link where you can find more information about updates or general support for the mod? These checks tell you whether the mod is actively maintained, stable, and worth integrating into your server. Windstride is a great example because it's one of the most popular DayZ mods, adds civilian clothes only, has a manageable number of class names, which makes it easier for learning, and doesn't dramatically alter gameplay. That makes it perfect for learning the process without introducing unnecessary complexity. Now that we've verified the mod is solid, let's go ahead and subscribe to it, and take a look at what files it actually provides. After subscribing, the next step is to review the mods locally before installing anything on your server. If you're not sure how to access the workshop folder, open your DayZ launcher, go to the Mods tab, right-click on any mod, and select Open Folder. This will take you to your local Steam Workshop directory, where all the mods you're personally subscribed to are stored. From here, open the folder for the mod you're currently working with. In this case, Windstrider Clothing Pack, and take a look at what it actually includes. Typically, you'll see an add-ons folder which contains the PBO files. These are the core package files for the mod, and generally we don't touch these. A keys folder, which contains the key file used for server authentication. What we're really looking for are any additional files provided for server integration, such as types.xml, classnames.txt, readme, or any other documentation files. This step is crucial. Just because a mod is installed on your server doesn't mean it will actually do anything. If you don't integrate the types into your economy, nothing will spawn. Reviewing the files offline is a good practice because it will tell you how much editing is required, whether you'll need to create your own types files, and how the mod fits into your server's loot balance. Now that we understand what the mod provides, let's talk about the most common mistake new admins make when adding these class names to their server. A very common mistake is copying the mod's types.xml file from this folder and pasting it directly to your server's mission files. The problem is, this mods file has the same name as the base game types.xml file. If you paste it into your server and overwrite the original, you're replacing the entire vanilla loot economy with the mods file, which will immediately break your server's loot system. Another bad practice, and I'll admit I was guilty of this when I first started, is taking the mod types entries and simply pasting them at the bottom of the base types.xml file. This might seem like it works, and it will, but it creates long-term problems. For instance, when DayZ updates, it can overwrite the base types.xml file, and you'll lose everything you added. When that happens, those modded items will slowly stop spawning and begin disappearing from the server. Also, when vanilla and mod content gets mixed together, it makes the file harder to manage and can cause this file to grow to 60 to 100k lines, which also makes removing a mod later messy because you have to manually clean up these entries. Troubleshooting also becomes much more difficult since everything is blended into one file. Instead, a better practice is to keep mod type files completely separate from base game files. So let's head over to our workspace and set this up properly. Before we edit anything, let's talk about backup. If you haven't already created a workspace for your DayZ files, now is the time. Download your mission files and store a clean copy somewhere safe before making any changes. Always keep a base version you can revert back to if something goes wrong. Now let's create a dedicated space for our mod types by creating a new folder called types_extra. This folder is where all mod related types files will live. Now let's take the types file from the Windstrider mod folder and paste it in here. Rename the file so it clearly matches the mod. In this case, windstrides_types.xml. Using a naming convention makes it easy to identify which file belongs to which mod as your server grows. Now open the file in Notepad++ or your preferred code editor. Here you can adjust the types entries to match your server's vision. Adjust the nominal and minimal values accordingly. If you're not familiar with what each of these values means, check out my video on types.xml, link below, where I break down every value and how it interacts with the DayZ central economy system. And like always, once you finish making your changes, validate the XML file before ever uploading it to the server. Now that our mods types file is created and edited, we need to tell Z to actually use it. This is done inside the cfgeconomycore.xml file. So first go into your mission folder and grab a copy of the cfgeconomycore.xml and paste it into your workspace. Remember, we are not editing the live file and we are not editing our backup. We always work inside our workspace copy. So let's go ahead and open up the file. Now I'm not going to break down everything inside the file right now. Instead, we're only going to add what's necessary to register our modded types files. So scroll down toward the bottom of the file just before the closing tag /economy_core. Here we're going to add the following. First, let's add a comment so we can clearly see where the modded types begin. So start off with the open angle bracket or the less than symbol, followed by exclamation point, 2 dashes, modded types, 2 dashes, close angle bracket or the greater than sign. And if you notice, this will automatically turn it green, which lets the XML file know that this is just a comment and won't actually run any code here. Now we're going to add the line that lets the central economy know exactly which folder to look in. Do this by typing the open angle bracket, CE, space folder, equals, parentheses, types underscore extra, parentheses, close bracket. On the next line, indent inward and add the file entry. Open angle bracket, file name, equals, parentheses, Windstrides underscore types.xml, parentheses, space, type equals, parentheses, types, parentheses, slash, close angle bracket. Once again, double check that the file name correctly matches what you created earlier. I personally copy and paste file names to avoid any mistakes. Something as simple as a naming mismatch will prevent the loot system from loading the file, and you won't get a syntax error from the XML validator because technically the file structure is correct. Finally, close the entry with open bracket /CE close bracket. If you plan to add more mod types in the future, all you need to do is copy the file name equals line and change the file name for each additional mod. This tells the central economy where to look, what file to load, and keeps mod content modular and organized. And don't worry, if you didn't catch all that, I'll have it pasted in the comments so you could just take the entry and paste it into your file. Now that our modded types and economy core file edits are ready, let's move over to the server and install the actual mod. This part is pretty straightforward. So let's head in the game panel and shut down the server. Next, open the Steam Workshop tab inside the panel. In the search bar, type the name of the mod. If needed, adjust the filters to help narrow down your results. Once the mod appears, verify it's the correct one by clicking More Information. This will take you directly to the Steam Workshop page where you can confirm the name, author, and details. So when you're ready, click Install. If the mod requires any dependencies, GTX will automatically download and install those as well. After the install completes, let's confirm everything is in place. First, under the Content type, use the drop-down menu and select Installed Content. Make sure the mod appears here in the list. Next, we need to confirm the server is set up to load the mod at startup. Go to Config Files, Workshop Mods, Config Editor. Here you'll see the mod has been automatically added to the load list along your other mods. GTX updates this file automatically, so there's nothing we need to manually edit here. Now let's take one more look inside the Files Manager tab. You'll notice that a new folder has been created for the mod. Open that folder and you'll notice these are the same files that were downloaded when you subscribed to the mod locally. That's what allowed us to review and edit everything offline before installing it on the server. Now for the important part, uploading the files we edited to actually bring the mod to life. Without uploading these economy files, the mod would technically be installed, but nothing would spawn when the server boots back up. But before we upload anything, let's do one final XML validation. I like to use codebeautify.org to validate my files. I'll provide a link below in the description. Just paste in one file at a time, click validate, and check for any errors. If everything looks good, save the file and move on to the next one. Even if the file looks correctly visually, validation helps catch missing tags or structural mistakes before they cause issues on your server. Never skip this step. Once all the files are validated and ready to go, head into the MP missions folder for the map you're currently using. Inside that map folder, the first thing we're going to do is recreate the folder structure we made in our workspace. So create a new folder named types_extra and make sure the name matches exactly what you reference inside the cfgeconomycore.xml. If the folder name doesn't match, the loot system will not load the file. Now open the folder and upload your mods type files, in this case the Windstrides types file. After uploading, verify that the file appears and the timestamp reflects the version you just edited. Next, go back into the main map folder and upload your updated cfgeconomycore.xml. Once the upload finishes, open the file directly on the server and confirm that the folder name and file name matches exactly. Even small naming mismatches can prevent the economy from loading correctly, and XML validation won't catch a naming error. Take your time here, as this is the step that actually activates your mod inside the economy. Once all the files are uploaded, we're ready to start the server. So head to the home panel and go ahead and boot it up. After the server finishes starting up, I personally like to give it one additional restart. This allows the server to go through a full startup cycle and gives the loot economy a clean startup. Now that the server is fully online, we need to sync the mod list so players can see the updated mods. Inside the game panel, there's a DZSA sync button. Clicking that button will open a link to the DZSA server check page for your server. From there, click Check Server and it will update the mod list on DZSA Launcher. It may take a minute or two for the mods to appear, and that's normal. Once everything is synced, go ahead and log into your server. If you're using VPPAdmin tools, you can quickly verify that the new items exist. Open Admin Tools, search for one of the items, and confirm it appears in the list. If the item shows up and can be spawned, your mod is successfully integrated into the economy. Now, if you want a deeper understanding of how the loot system works, including nominal values, restock, lifetime, and how to properly balance your server, I break all that down step by step in my types.xml guide right here. That video will help you fine tune your server beyond just installing mods. And if this guide helped you, consider subscribing or let me know in the comments other videos you'd like me to do. Stay surviving.